giving some real good livestock stuff, right? Because as women, we do find ourselves, and it doesn't necessarily have to be all women, but many of us have put a lot of energy into a relationship to a point where we have lost ourselves in the midst of it. Many of us have, because it becomes more about him and you put you on the back burner. All women don't do this, but many women do. And you have to say, skirt, wait a minute, hold up.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What about me?
Yeah.
Right? And so what you're saying is, from what I hear, and you can correct me, and then we'll go on and say whatever else you have to say, because you want us to piggyback off of her, and I want you to do that. When you had to put the locks on your skates because you're just going, forget the person.
Because it's natural as a
Right?
woman.
And it's not so much that it's natural.
It is natural for us to love.
No, it's natural for us to love, but it's not natural for us to
be
lose
degraded.
who we are.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Right.
it was natural. You saying we were just going and going.
Right.
It's natural for us to know to clean, to cook, to
No.
all
When
of that.
I'm saying
You talking
going, I'm talking about
letting
the
yourself
going
go.
in because you have it. If he's
Putting
feeling
somebody
this,
else
he's saying
in
this,
front of you.
then it's like, okay, you know you're not comfortable. You know that's not where you are. But then yet and still you're trying to fulfill the desires of the man. Well, first of all, he's not your husband. This is somebody that you're supposed to be like courting, and you are really supposed to see if this is something that you
That's
want.
interesting.
But you're going on and you're pouring, and nothing is being received because you're trying to. So I want you to piggyback, what they say, lamb back on what it is that he had. I mean that she was saying that you wanted to say. Say that.
When she mentioned that, because I think it was in correlation to you kind of not be yourself. You know, we're putting on this facade or a smoke screen. When you first meet someone, we want to put our best face forward. That's also considered to be the imposter syndrome. And everyone has, like, in one shape or another has done that and felt that. The imposter syndrome basically falls along the lines of, I'm not good enough, I need to put on a brave face to make it seem like I'm good enough. I'm not good, he's gonna want a preppy or, you know, this type of woman, or a feminine woman, or a soft woman, or this.
You trying
When you
to
should
figure
just
out
be
what woman he
yourself.
wants. You should be who
He
you
either
are.
likes you or you don't, or he doesn't. It's either way. That means he's not a good fit for you. Now knowing that, there was a lot of times when I first met someone, I spoke softer, I moved more feminine, and then after 3 months, he's like, who is this Felice? This is not the same woman I met before. And I couldn't get mad at him because it's like, oh yeah, this is me. And he's like, well, I'm not the same chick I met. So that's where that fall lines. But then I kind of flip it on him and was like, well, see, you can't accept me. Well, how can he accept me when I didn't show him my real self in the first place? I didn't know that. You know, that comes from being conditioned that, you know, you're not good enough. Every little black young female will come across you're too dark, you're too light, you're not this, you don't fit in here, you're not thin enough, you're not thick enough, you don't have the right body. Society always tells us our hair, our skin, our face, our lips, everything is never enough. So we are always combating that, trying to be something that the other society, other ethnicities try to emulate us. Always and forever. We are the blueprint, whether you look at it or not. I mean, it's just inevitable. So with that, recognizing that whatever I have is enough to make someone stay, it has to be
Somebody
enough.
out there?
You know, that right there says a lot, because when you are in that place and it's to that point of who am I, what is my place, what is my position, and we're gonna go even back. We're gonna go back to childhood, because a lot of stuff that we do as women come from our childhood.
Yeah, it does.
And I'd like for you to share that, because
Definitely do.
you have some very good nuggets in regards to, hey, when I was a child, this was the things that I was shown, these things I was taught, blah, blah, blah. So, let's
Me being, I guess, for lack of a better word, I guess ambiguous looking, you know, from my darker hue cousins, I was never black enough. From my other counterparts, and when I go out to school, I'm just black, or I never fit in any kind of special place. Then it was, oh, you laugh funny, or you walk funny, you can't play sports, or you can't do this, you too goofy. It's always something.
You
That's
talk
my point.
white.
It's always something. You too nerdy, why are you reading? Or,
Yeah.
you know, it's the little things that people do unknowingly, projecting their insecurities onto you. And we're not taught that, like, you know, to a certain degree, they're like, oh girl, get tough. That's not enough. You have to let them know, like, this is why this person is acting out and directing themselves towards you, you know, their energy towards you. They're focusing on you for one reason or another, and that's fine. But that means you're doing something right. I never got enough of that. I didn't get that reinforcement from my parentals as much as I needed it. You got it when, you know, they felt it, but then again, keep in mind, they never got it. So I can't be mad at them either, because once again, we're conditioned. And you know, as women, we're taught to be strong, not soft. You know, we're the backbone of many families. I think everyone here can relate to that. Even the gentlemen, they have mothers and grandmothers who's like, hey, when mama didn't do it, grandmama did it. And if grandmama didn't do it, our woman did it, and whoever else. So women are the true backbone of many families. So with that, you know, if we're not, yes ma'am.
Which is kind of, for me, it's kind of backwards. Because instead of being the strength of the family, I think that's the job of the head of the family.
Absolutely.
I think we're supposed to be a balance, not the strength. That's just my opinion. I could definitely be
And
wrong.
I totally agree, but I know.
But
women
you got
conditioned like
but you
that.
got to think about the men. They crybabies. How could they be strong? If they sick, they are dying. Okay, we sick. Ain't nothing wrong with you.
Once again,
You
that's-
know, it's like
Right, that once again, that's conditioning. As little boys, they're the hey man, you gonna break a lot of hearts.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna break a lot of
Now we
hearts.
gotta hear this, because that is so key.
Yes.
That is so,
So
it's so
they're
needed.
learning that. They're sponges. What I feel,
Yeah.
that's why
The
I
first
never want to
5
have
years of
children.
your kids'
Is
life
a
is the most
sponge.
important.
Is a sponge. They literally taking all the
Yeah.
good, the bad, and in between.
Everything.
So when you're telling your little handsome little boy, oh, you're gonna break a lot of hearts, man. Oh,
And-
come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. He's already in that mindset. Well, I need to do this. And then when he gets to school, it reinforces. When you have money, when you have different
Yeah.
attributes, then women flock to me. So all I need is this. They don't
Yep.
work on themselves like women do.
And,
But you know what, and if even if, in regards to what you're saying, it is not that, it's more so like what you said, they're not taught.
Right.
When we think about training up a child in the way that they should go, what are we doing? And I got you. What did you train them? You train them how, to break hearts? You train them how to depend on a woman?
Like she said,
Be-
be crybabies.
Crybabies.
And then the thing about it is,
Baby
when
in
they're
them.
doing, you're babying them, and you're,
You got to encourage your men.
and you
No matter
do.
how
But that's how. But that's how it is because.
But wait a minute, but that's the point that we want to get to. But if we don't get to the foundation of, if we don't deal with the true aspects of what's going on, because in the end, all our men really do need is to be encouraged. Why? Because they got a
Yeah.
whole lot
Yeah.
that do
Right.
come
And that's
upon
where
them.
we
But see,
We're
this
not
Mama,
in
do
the
you remember
parenting.
this? Mama's pregnant, but we're
We're
not.
not in the parenting mode
And
right now.
but-
It comes from the
But not-
mamas.
Right, and we'll get to that point.
Just let it come
Even
out.
though they.
But wait a minute, because that right there, we wanna hold that, because she's gonna be talking about parenting. So we're gonna talk about the parenting part because of that part that plays. We wanna stick to the singleness,
Exactly.
because each one of those points and matters is going to, is gonna drive in the areas that we need to. That's why we're talking about the three
Okay.
things. So we're talking about the singleness, but go ahead on, and then we're gonna come back to the police.
This point that I'm about to make is not going to be in my presentation this evening.
Okay.
But she mentioned that we train our boys, especially until they're 5, to be this and that. And research says it's child psychology that our personalities are developed at 5 years old. So that first stage of developing in our boys, and when our girls too, but especially our boys, it is very important because by 5 years old, they are who they are. And it doesn't, it only changes when they grow older and are able to recognize these different things that need to be changed or not, and many of them don't. I'm not sure, but most men don't sit and talk about how to change themselves.
It's slightly different for them.
It's slightly
Kinda
different.
different.
When we
Yeah.
get together, we do a little bit of male bashing, just a little bit.
And what?
But we focus on
What you said, a little bit?
Just honest. But we focus on how to improve ourselves.
Exactly.
And when I talk to my son, I have 3 sons, and they sit with men in different groups at work and church and all that a lot. And when they talk to me about what they talked about, it's never about how they're gonna change and how they're gonna grow. And it's all about, if we are gonna gain our salvation, we have to, each individual, grow in the fruits of the Spirit.
That's
So,
true.
but that's something that we all need to talk about and dig in deep and be honest about. And I don't think, and I could definitely be wrong, that men do that. Am I
And we're
right?
gonna talk about that.
Write that question down.
Do they
Do
walk?
men talk about how to dig in deep in themselves and improve
When I was saying what I
themselves?
said about the crybaby too. He mean mugged me.
Because I've always been curious to know, what do brothers talk about as far as how, how y'all, hey, I got this situation going on at home, because women, y'all know, we talk. So we don't
We do.
know how y'all communicate different from us when y'all in the group. And I've always been curious to know, like, how y'all deal with, if you got certain brothers that you talk to or confide in, how y'all deal with, man, it's hard being a husband. I ain't know I was trying to know, I'm just giving an example. And I never get a chance to hear how y'all process it.
Yeah.
And how y'all get through it, and how y'all walk through that step of saying, like Sister was saying, how, when we have to decide, we talk about how we gonna change.
We do.
We don't know, y'all have y'all stuff shut down. We don't know. And we that's have, why- we have forums
Which is
and
probably why
everything.
we have such a difficult time figuring
Right.
things out, because we don't know.
Every Wednesday morning on the Female Solutions radio show, that's the network that I'm a part of, we have the men's section where the men get together and talk. And we sit back like we're not even there. And we analyze, in the 3rd hour, we analyze what they're saying. And some of the recordings, and we can all go, and I can share through email, the archived recordings of some of the conversations that these men have. And I'm talking about, most of them are spearheaded by older men, but they're, the generations go through. And what those men have a conversation on their life, and how they've lived with marriage, single, divorce, children, and later years, early years, and they go through their own, they share those conversations. And those conversations are really deep. And we learn from that how to then interact with men, and we get a better understanding of where the man's mind is. Of course, they're all from Mars, where we're from somewhere else. But there is a difference, and it's a waha moment of how they really think and what they've gone through in dealing with the female.
And if nothing else, when, and then I want to hear from you guys, but when I actually got ready to start this, the conference, it was actually the wicked woman versus the righteous woman, and Sister Michelle was like, I don't think you're probably getting a good response behind that. She said, so let's kind of rephrase that. But the reality of who we are as women, and even in the Word, it speaks about us, about
Y'all might as
women
well
being
just stay.
wicked. and how women are. And we really, even as you were saying, Felice, in regards to knowing ourselves. Remember when you said putting on a facade? We put on that facade, hey,
Yeah,
but
we
then we
do.
can only keep that facade going on for
So
so long.
long.
And then after a while, the real you come out.
Yeah.
And when the real you come out, the dude looking at you like, oh my goodness, what did
Yeah.
I got myself into?
Yeah.
That's just like men when they talk about women when they put on makeup. It's like, now when you remove it, who am I going to really be looking at? Right?
Well,
When
why
you
do
take
we
that
put
hair
on that
off,
facade?
who am I really going to be looking at? So a lot of
Why
times,
do women do that?
but a lot of us, due to, like what you're saying, society, because it talks about it, low self-esteem, it's a lot of things that go on with us as women that makes us put on these dressings of whatever. You know, if I want to be what we would think is sexy, but in our reality, we're just exposing ourselves because I normally get your attention. I'm an attention seeker. So I want to be able to hear you say, "Whoosh," you know what I'm saying? I mean, girl, you looking good. But then many of us get mad because of what comes behind that. He may have whistled at you. He may have told you you were fine. He may have given you a line. But in the midst of it, he was giving you what you was looking for, and you got it, but the end result of it was devastating. And then don't end up getting pregnant. Now he's a deadbeat and everything else. But that's what you drew to yourself. And so these are things that we have to face and we have to think about as women and young women that are coming up, how to present themselves. And especially when we're talking about we believe in the Most High, and when he talks about us as women being modest, you know, how to dress. It's not being judgmental of a person, because the word says to be able to judge, but righteously. So we're looking at things, but we don't know how to receive it. So I want to hear something else from you. I have a question for you. But then, guys, I pose a question to you all. So in the midst of, even like what you were talking about, in regards to the, now I'm who I am, what did you see and what did you get from that once you saw that and then decided to make that transition?
What I saw.
Yeah, what did you see? Even within yourself, the whole situation, what did you see and what did you get, what did you realize and get from that point?
Looking in the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. You know, just even from, not just from a physical aspect, I didn't like what I saw. And you know, if you can't look in the mirror and say, I love you to yourself, that's a problem. I wasn't able to do that. I had got so down and out to the point where like I told you, I was thinking about ending myself because for some reason, I cannot live without this person. And it should never rely on another person. My happiness should never rely on another person. Because all I have at the end of the day is how I think and feel about myself. And that's what I had to get back to. And there's a therapy, exercise that you can do. And it's basically just grab a piece of paper and you write out everything that you love about yourself. And it feels weird, the first 5 or 6 traits about yourself. But then at the end of it, you look at yourself and you're like, you know what, I am a damn good person. I'm a really good person. I am considerate. I am thoughtful. I am giving. I am very, very loyal. I am all of these things. And so on and so forth. And then you look at that and you have to sometimes tell yourself, because why would I give that to someone else and I'm not giving that to myself?
How can you?
So
Right?
I
That
can't
is
give
so
to you.
key.
I can't give to you if I have nothing to give. So I need to pour into myself first. So
Yeah.
once I kept making that priority number 1, like you said, I had kind of disappeared for a little bit, and you know, I guess it absolutely did look like that. But that was me being selfish. I wanted to be selfish for myself in a good way. I wanted to focus on myself. Wake up and say good morning to myself. I love you. You know, you're looking good today. I see you lost some 5 pounds. Girl, keep it going. Talk to myself. Draw into myself. Pour into myself, and continue to do that. And after a while, I saw the progress. Nobody else has to see the progress. I saw it in myself, in my thinking, in my speech, and how I was maneuvering about things. And ultimately realizing that if I don't like something, I'm going to say no. No is my favorite word. I love it. It is. It has become my favorite word. Would you like to go here? No. No, thank you. No, thank you. Oh, no, thank you. If it doesn't feel right within me, it's a hard no. My self-conscious, your self-conscious is that little voice people hear and they tend to ignore it. And if you don't listen to it enough, it will get quieter and quieter. When people say, "Oh, why didn't I listen to my first line?" It really is there to help you. That's your
That
wit.
is the spirit talking.
Yeah, telling you something. It's something
Let me
higher,
know.
telling you like, this ain't right. You need to take your behind home.
Yeah.
If we don't listen to it enough, it will eventually disappear.
Mhm.
So listen to that voice. And you know what? Even at times where it's like, I'm just gonna go with the flow. It is what it is. And it will be like, well, it didn't work out this time, but realizing that I learned something from that, whatever that situation may have come from, taken from the so-called losses, because then it's not a loss. I really gained because I learned something.
And we have to learn the difference between a loss and a gain. Because a lot of times when a person is out of our life, we feel like, oh, I lost him, I'm alone. That, and we have to understand you're never alone.
Right.
And if you never understand that, because you want to make sure that you are in that relationship with the Most High. Look, if nothing else, you are the creator of all things. And if nothing, I can call on you when I can't call on nobody else.
That's the spiritual part.
You see what I'm saying?
Part
But
being
and that is the
spiritual.
most important part, and a lot of people lose that aspect in regards. I'm gonna hear from you, and then guys, I'm gonna open that up to you guys. Go ahead.
You mentioned the word selfish, and that kind of words we have to
Be careful
be
with our
careful
words.
how we say it. You're not being selfish, and I looked it up in the dictionary, okay. A person, action, or motive lacking consideration for others. You are not selfish, lacking consideration for others. You are
Putting myself first.
putting, right, when you go to the
There's a
airport,
difference.
get on the airlines, and they say,
Put
put
that
that
mask
mask
on
on you
first
first,
before
because you
help
can't take
anybody
care of
else.
nobody else without your oxygen.
Yeah.
And that's such a key
So
point
don't
right
say
there,
you're
Dr.
being
Moore.
selfish.
I
You're not
apologize. I
being
didn't tell you the
selfish.
context for that because when I did, me and mom used to talk at least once a week. And she's like, oh, you sound different, or you sound different.
That's
And
what
she was
I
like,
wanted to
I
share.
love what you're saying. And I was like, you know what? Okay, great. I kind of disappeared for a while. And she was like, okay, I'm just checking on you. You just let me know you're breathing, girl, at this point. And I was like, and I had also done it with other people. And then my job allows me to isolate myself. So when I say selfish, I was told that I was selfish. Like, you just being selfish, you just dissing, you just out here. And I was like, okay, all right, well, I will be that. Because, that word didn't affect me. Just like you can call me, that doesn't affect me anymore. Okay, that's fine. So when I said selfish, and I said in a good way, that's me kind of flipping it. So I apologize.
Because
But no,
we
I believe
did
words
have
are
that,
power.
we did have that conversation about her, and, talking about selfishness, and I'm like, you're not
You're not
selfish.
selfish.
So when
You
someone
need that.
addresses to you and say that you're selfish, do you take the time out to think to myself, okay, what was
Yes,
I
they-
thinking
no.
that I was selfish about?
No.
Or if a person say that you was acting mean towards them, you feel just the way you was
If
acting?
someone came to me and said,
You
you
hurt
were
their
really
feelings,
mean to
and
me,
you hurt my
now I might say, well, I might take a step back and see try to see from your perspective, and then listen to you. Now,
Okay.
if it has credibility, okay, well, I understand why you feel that way, but that wasn't my intent, and go from there, because it's all about intent. If I intentionally tried to hurt you, that's different. Like, oh yeah, you should be hurt, because I tried to hurt you.
Right.
But if it's like, no, that wasn't what I meant for that to happen, okay, good to know. So now I know proceeding forward.
Right.
Because some people will
Right.
try to pick at you, see if there's a crack in the wall.
Wall.
Oh,
Yeah.
you look too
Yeah.
you look too happy right now. Let me see how I can bring you down a bit. No.
Yeah, that is, so key. So,
Amen.
I don't know, yeah, that was awesome, very, very good
Yes.
nuggets on that part. So from a male's perspective, I don't know what,
He went to the restroom.
He right.
okay, so he'll be back. So,
That's how I was thinking. So can we delay the man? till he
Yes.
gets back?
okay, we can delay until he comes back. And so, just keeping up with the time, okay? So, if nothing else, we are to narrow ourselves down to really truly learn what our role is as a woman. And one of the things that even you stated earlier, which is such a concern of mine, is losing yourself. And then some people say, I don't even know who I am. I don't even know me, because we spend so much time trying to learn about somebody else. We spend so much time trying to accommodate another person. We spend so much time doing everything and everybody else, because I used to hear it all the time, and it used to irritate me, because I was just wondering. And it was like, you take care of everybody else but yourself, right? And so that used to irritate me. Like, what do you mean? I'm being who I am. I enjoy giving. I enjoy doing. But then I did realize that there comes a time when you just need to take that woosah moment. What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And not, if you don't want to go, that's fine. I do. And do that. Because we sometimes feel like we have to have somebody in order to do something. I don't need you to do it. It would be nice to have you if we were going to do it, but I don't need you to do it. Now, that doesn't mean that we say as women, I don't need no man. A woman should never say, I don't need no man, because if that be the case, then the Father word would be a lie, because his word says that he created man, he created woman for the man to be a helpmeet. So it's not like I don't need to be there to help you, or I don't need. I can still survive if you're not there. I don't have to make you a god. I don't have to be to that point where I, can't function because you're not there. But if it's to that point that you are there, then your presence needs to be beneficial. Right? Because your presence can be a waste of time. Your presence can be a destruction, a distraction, a destruction. It could be deteriorating, right? But we as women can also be that to a man, right?
We could do it better.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
We could be the
When they even talk about a woman's scorn, a woman can tear down a kingdom. Just like that. You see what I'm saying? Because it speaks in regards to a woman, in regards to her being a destruction to her.
We are that powerful, so it's just about knowing your power within, recognizing it, and of course, being that help me.
And being you said something about earlier. You said something about being strong or being soft-spoken. Now, as a woman who's a strong woman, and I know we're probably going to hear this with the Proverbs, talking about the Proverbs woman. Proverbs woman knows how to take care of business. She knows how to be open. She knows how to make it work. She knows how to keep everything in order. Whereas she knows how to rise early. She knows how to handle. She knows how to take care of the husband. She knows how to make him look good. She knows how to take care of the family. She knows how to let it run. A lot of us, we become laxy-daisy, and not to say that the husband does not partake in it, but being able to know how to make it happen without always whining and crying and complaining.
Well, I think there's a bliss point to that. Remember I told you I mentioned that there's a bliss point to everything in life. You can do too much, too little. And when I mentioned like too strong, that means like from a single person's perspective, I was in my masculinity a majority of the time. Even in my relationship, I was in my masculinity. I was thinking from a man's perspective. Okay, we got a problem. How can we fix it? Let's just fix it. Fix it. That's what I mean by pouring into
And I got you on that.
And you mentioned a while back where that is a masculine. Problem solving is a man's job. I'm supposed to be there to help him be his voice and be there for comfort. That's me resting in my femininity strongly. Okay, well, you have a problem. You stumbled a little bit. I can be there, but you got it, my love. I know you got it. You got this.
Because majority of us don't allow a man to be a man.
Right.
We'll sit down and we'll tell a man in a minute, he don't know what he's doing. Let me give you a prime example. My husband and I, a couple of years ago, was putting up a tent. And I always use this as an example. We were putting up the tent, and I saw what needed to be done. I shared with my husband what needed to be done. My husband said, no, we need to do it like this. I said, okay. And we did it like that. Only for it to come back to the point where he was like, baby, you was right. Now, that wasn't for me to, see, I told you, and see, you did that. No, sit down, calm it down.
Yeah.
I turned around and I told him, I said, that's okay. Because you know what I wanted him to know is that it's okay if you mess up.
And then
It's okay for it was I'm here, and we had to take it all back down, but I still didn't make him feel bad. But in the midst of it, it was also to that point of being able to be an encouragement, also letting him know, yeah, you can lead, and yes, you can make a mistake, but if nothing else, it also helped him to know and understand too that I can share with you, and in my sharing with you is I'm being who I'm supposed to be. I'm helping you through the midst of this, and I'm seeing something that you didn't see.
From a different perspective.
You have your hand.
And for those of us who do know how to solve problems, we have to understand that there's always more than one way to solve a problem.
Absolutely.
It really
Absolutely.
The way
is.
I
It
know
really
is
is.
the problem will be solved is not the only way it could be solved.
Absolutely.
The end result could be
Right.
the exact same thing, but he'll do it a completely different
Different
way.
way, that's right.
So we have to practice not kind of throwing that
Controlling.
It,
in the
that is
face
a key
and
word right
controlling.
there.
Yeah,
That
I like
is
that.
so
Controlling
powerful
what
right
he
there.
I was very controlling.
Because there's so many ways to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just get the right answer.
Could you elaborate on that? Anthony is back in the room, and then I want to go to the men. But could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because that it comes from both male
Yeah.
and female, but from a female's perspective, ooh, that is so powerful.
I was controlling. I recognized that. There were times when, but that was me and my masculinity, and it was like, well, because I was older than my last ex, and it was like, okay, I'm older than you. I know what I'm doing. I've been this before, and I'm not going to tell you anything wrong. Just listen. And of course it didn't go right. Of
That's
course,
never
and
gonna
I
go
wouldn't
at all.
expect it to. Looking back at it, like, oh, girl, you're doing too much. But I understand why.
Yeah.
It was just this. We were just butting heads at that point. You know, he didn't want to hear me. I didn't want to hear him. It was like, oh well. And like you said, there is more than one way to skin a cat. Is that a word?
Say it like
Yeah,
that.
okay, there's more than one way to
Yep.
skin a cat. So that controllingness, it's defensive, and it doesn't help anybody. Building that wall doesn't allow me to reach out to him, and doesn't allow him to reach out to me. Walls never get you anywhere, and that's part of it, that defense mechanism.
And you know, and that brings the separation anyway, because it becomes a
Absolutely.
divider.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be one or the other who's gonna choose to tear the wall down.
Yeah.
You know, and that comes in the community. And I'm gonna tell you something, even though we're gonna be talking about marriage later, in order to get there, there's things you have to learn and know before you even get to that point. Because if you have a whole bunch of messiness and you take it in, destruction, right? If you're already destroying something in the beginning, you darn sure know once you get married, it ain't gonna fix itself, right? It's something that has to happen, so it's very important. So from the guys, a lot of things have been said, I'm sure. And if nothing else, I know you, Mr. Lockett, you one of them individuals, you know, you sit, you listen, but you hear everything. Like, I just have to share this real quick, and then I want to hear from y'all, because when we first met, I promise you, if I talk 2 hours, he listened 2.5 hours, right? I promise you. And he would spit everything that I said. He was spitting, and it was like, dang, you really paying attention to me, huh? You know, I'm not just talking to you. You're making it as though you're listening to me. Whether that listening was a good thing or a bad thing, you heard me, you know? And so it's interesting. So I know, Anthony, you kind of mild, you know, too, and a listener as well. So I just want to get you guys' perspective, whether it's you pinpoint everything, you get one thing, but in general from you guys, just hearing from women, our thought process, what we are dealing with, knowing the fact that we're like, you know, knowing some things we need to overcome. What are you all, or what has come to you all's minds and hearts that you all want to share at this point in time? Yeah. And Anthony, if you, Ms. Thompson, if you talk, you so soft spoken. Can you kind of?
I'll project.
Thank you.
Well, I start with let's start the look anyway with men and crybabies. I know some men that when they say, yeah, you know, I never had that luxury. The only time I was allowed to be the crybabies as a child, you know, but in the family I grew up in, I was always set to the side of the other room. I grew up with women. Women raised me. The one thing they always told me growing up was, don't grow up, how can I say, depending on what.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be the head. You're supposed to be able to take care of yourself. And if you can't, then that speaks of who you are as a man. So, and it was a blessing and a curse, because when I got around certain women, a lot of things I really didn't need before. Like that. I could wash my own clothes, I could cook my own breakfast, make my own lunch, I could make my own dinner. Because this is what I was taught growing up. I took care of the house. Yes, I was the brawn in the house even at 9 years old. They started me off really at 7, carrying the milk. Then it became 3 bags at 10. All the bags by the time I was 12. Unload the car. I gave my sister that, she's grown. Unload the car. And don't complain about it. So that's where the crybaby never came in. When I was sick, I still had to get up and go to work. If it was my off day, I had to still get up and go do what I had to do on my off day. I had to be told to sit down. Even now, I had to be told to take a day off. I could be sniffling, fever, eyes watering, I still show up. And they say, oh, don't mind. That's the only way I'm gonna take a break. That's the only way, because I can't be a crybaby. In my household, growing up, up until now, it was, you have to make the decisions. I remember my mother, and it kind of scarred me a little bit, as much as it did help me. She told me when I was like 15 years old, she said, son, no matter what you do, it's always gonna be your fault.
That last part, I missed that.
When I was
You heard
15,
it.
my mother told me, no matter what you do in life, it's always gonna be your fault.
Wow. No, I did, because the grandbaby came and asked me a question, so and he said, so I
Why
had
did
to
she
give
say
him
that to
close
me?
So, let me ask you from that point. It's always your fault, and I really have to say I disagree with that. But what is your mindset? And because you said at 15, that's you was told that. So at this point in time in your life, what does that mean to you now? How do you see that now?
It pushed me with all the things I allowed to happen in my life or came into my life. It pushed me to always fight back or continue to push forward, you know, despite your circumstances, because in my mind it's like, hey, you did it to yourself or you allowed it to happen to yourself.
But you know, to a degree, that's true.
She was trying to raise him.
That was true. Because I would, and I'm gonna rephrase on something. I'm gonna tell you why. Even when she said it's always your fault, that could become to a point of saying because of what you did or because of what you allowed. It's your fault. Because even as I was sharing and have been sharing with them, you have to take responsibility. And I was just doing a women's call, the women's conference call, the 4th Monday of this month. And like I was saying to them, we always want to point the finger at somebody. But there are times when you want to play victim. But then you have to understand, someone was saying, you know, people take advantage of you. Can't nobody take advantage of you. You either allowing the person to do something or you're going to cut it off. One way or another. So whatever situation you're in, it's because of you. So that's why I say I want to just kind of renege on when I say I disagree with it's always your fault. But again, depending on the situation, it is your fault because either you allowed it or you didn't. So you do have to take responsibility for that. And like I say, a lot of times, especially us as women, we always want to cry wolf. And we always want to make it everybody else's fault but our own. Especially when we talk about deadbeat dads and fathers and stuff like that. And I'm gonna when we get an opportunity, I think divorce and baby mama drama and other things, I think that's gonna be the next conference, and really talking and getting more in depth in that. But we want to stick with the singleness. So that there, do you feel or do you accept that that may have been a positive thing for you in your life? Because I heard you say a blessing and a curse. So I mean, what do you mean by that?
It was a blessing because the role in the household, when I did have my households, I was able to take care of the home, and make sure majority of everything was taken care of. The curse was when it came for the woman that was there to be my help, I refused it.
Because
And that
of
was
what-
hurtful, I'm sure.
Because of that particular lesson your mom gave you,
Okay.
I
you
refused it.
refused the
Okay.
woman's help.
Well, it wasn't just my mother, it was all the women in the family saying the same thing.
Like, do
You
this.
gotta be able to take care of yourself. You
Okay.
can't allow
And-
yourself to stand on the woman.
I see.
Not saying stand on her as like, as in, like, use her, but just
I
stand
get
on her as your foundation,
Right.
cause you are the foundation.
But they did not teach you how to accept her as your help.
Right.
I can
See,
see
that
No,
was
it didn't.
another
No, it
lesson.
didn't.
Okay.
It didn't.
That was another lesson.
So
Okay.
what I ended up doing was like,
Right.
because I said everything, I give example with my son's mother, she wanted to work. She didn't work. I made enough money to take care of the house. At the time, I was what, 24, 25, about 20, 23, 24. She wanted to work. And I was like, okay, well, as long as the kid's good, go to work. She came with her first check, here. So what's that for? She said, for the bills. I said, I already paid the bills. I told her, go open a bank account. Put your money in the bank. Or go buy you something, you want to buy the kids something, go buy them something.
But that was actually a good thing.
It was. But because I had to be, as a young man, I was literally the man of the house for everybody because I was the only male in the family.
Wow.
Throughout all the girls, nobody had a male.
But maybe that wasn't all your fault in that, because she didn't know that, she could save her money and she could start
But
doing
we got
stuff
to
for
hear
you.
the heart of that, because there's a heart to that.
Yeah.
So, and she got upset. She got upset because I didn't take it. She said, I'm just trying to help. I said, well, put it in the bank, and if it ever gets needed, then we'll use it. And that's what I said to her. But she really wanted to help.
Right.
And every time she tried to, either I did it early, and sometimes I did it intentionally, or I would pay the bill early before she got her paycheck.
Oh, wow.
And you took her faults on as your.
Because that wasn't your
That wasn't on her.
Mm-mm.
No, it wasn't.
That wasn't
She
on
didn't do
you.
anything wrong.
That wasn't on you.
That was not on
For
you.
the way she was reacting.
So what brought it up was what brought the downfall? Because I'm like you, DeBoer, and I'm like you. I mean, that was a good thing. So it's like,
That sounds like a good thing to
Probably
me.
first because I find out a lot of women want to be in their equalness. They want to be part of everything.
Don't believe it.
Say, don't speak that. Don't speak that.
I'm saying this because there's some women out there that feel like if the ones out there feel like if they're not able to contribute some way, it puts like with dating me, I don't care if you can cook because I make dinner. I come in the house and if it's not started already, I go in the kitchen and start. I'm not gonna say nothing to you because I'm hungry now. I don't want to work.
Two daughters, how old are you?
Because I've been seeing it sitting there.
Oh, wow.
And
so
then they get upset because they're like, "What are you doing? You act like you don't even need me."
But that's
Oh,
what the
wow.
single woman is looking for. What
But you know what though?
Wow.
Is that what you just said?
Well, no,
That's true
You're
though.
speaking to how I used to be.
Come on.
Because my mindset was, well, you know, yeah, this is how it was in my first marriage. Yeah, he's the head, but you know, I want to help. I want to contribute. I don't want to run things. But I want to help. I want to, because sometimes, sometimes us as women, not all women, but sometimes we want to feel needed. And if we're looking at it as, well, dang, he cook, he gonna cook, he gonna do, well, what you need me for?
You
And
need
it's
you
not-
to love you, to nurture, to
Right,
raise you.
But a lot of women
Put your
don't
money
know
in a
that.
vacation
I
fund.
didn't know that.
So wait a minute, hold on, Felice.
I didn't know
Felice.
that.
Make some good vacations.
what the young lady in the back was saying, I am, to what you're saying, my mother, my upbringing taught me, because on my mom's side, it's just me and my sister. She said there's nothing worse in this world than a lazy woman. So if I'm not helping or contributing, or yes, it's coming off as controlling, but it's like, okay, baby, no, here's the money, I help. And I didn't want to do 50-50. A lot of men want that 50-50 dynamic nowadays. It's more along the lines, that's transactional relationship. But I was contributing. It was taken in a negative way. So there are men nowadays who, that's a rare breed right there, who want that 50-50 transactional type of relationship. Okay, I got my half of the rent, where's your half? That's more of like a friendship type of, or a roommate type of situation. No, but what she was doing, that's why I'm a little confused, like how that was a problem. But I understand why she wanted to help though, because my mother said,
That's what's wrong with these men now. These women are putting them in a position where,
Yep.
I got it. I can do this, that, and the
Woo,
other.
I was
And
that
it's
person.
degrading these
My mom,
men.
yeah.
I was
It's
that
taking
person.
these men out of their position.
but my mother was taught that as well. 'Cause-
Yeah.
so
But-
that's
but-
what
and that's
she
what
taught
the
me.
purpose
I was
is.
a good student. I
Yeah.
can't help it.
Yeah, the conditioning, because, and not to take anything away from mothers, you know, but I'm just saying, most mothers don't know how to be mothers when raising these children. And with what he's saying, because I would have been the type, oh, just open it up, okay, I'm gonna go open up this account, I'm gonna go put this money over in here. Man, first of all, I'll be bragging about you. Let me tell you about mine, baby, because I, you know what, I want you to have what I got. Because that would be my motto. I want you to have what I got. Because see, man know how to go in. He allows me to do what I do, but if nothing else, he take care of business. And he ain't got to wait on me or question me. He gonna do it. That's a man.
Now I have some 50-year-olds,
Now,
some 60-year-olds in the position as single because they waiting on a man like you.
So let me tell you something. So when you have this, but most women goes right back with some of us, we want to be the domineering one. We want to be the controlling
Because
one.
we've had to.
Because most women wouldn't even know how to deal with somebody that talk
Shoot,
like that.
I can tell
You
But
you
now-
you wouldn't know how to do it.
But
You
now
do it
with
yourself.
that, because my concept was, it's my job to help him build. That's what I thought. Cause I like when she mentioned 50-50, I was like, nah, I ain't talking about no 50-50.
No,
I've been in that relationship.
I thought my job was, I am to whatever your goal is, or let's say you want to get a house, right? Okay, babe, we're gonna get a house. In my mind, my job is to help you, accomplish that. Whether it is you got your own business and I got to be the secretary, so in that way you ain't got to pay nobody. So in that way, that's money that we put.
Yeah.
My job is I'm gonna help you. I want to assist to help you build. But I didn't understand that. This is what I understood later.
Okay.
That I ain't got to run myself in the ground
Girl, you better say that.
because you got it, and because I trust that you have it. Because at some point with my first man, I didn't, and that's something that I'm gonna speak on later on. But if you don't fully trust that man's decisions, And you gonna lean more towards, I gotta make sure I help him build. I gotta make sure I help him build. Instead of, he got this. If he need me,
Yep,
I'm gonna be right over here.
I got you.
In the meantime, I'm gonna, babe, I'm finna go get me a massage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get relaxed.
Do you want one too?
And
Right.
then there's always emergencies.
And that's the things you put in, right?
Yeah.
But as I got older, and I had to change my mindset, and that's something I'm gonna talk about later too. I
Yeah,
had
it's
to
gonna be coming up in a minute,
understand,
but I wanna
because
see this
now I understand what you was doing. I understand your goal was, to handle everything and to make sure that she ain't got to struggle for nothing.
You
At
know,
the same time, I wanna say-
honey,
Say-
baby.
You need to teach classes.
My noise maker.
In making sure that we don't struggle, we still need for y'all to be okay, because you mentioned, even if I'm sick, I'm still trying to do it.
And that's where you
because
coming
if
in.
you gone,
What am I gonna do?
how's that gonna affect us? So we need for y'all to be able to say, or if we come, you say, hey babe, you know what? Play hooky with me today.
Right.
I ain't got to
Right.
work today.
You got to
You ain't got, play hooky with me today.
Oh,
Because
my
you
goodness.
need to take care of you too, because you run yourself in the ground and you got kids.
You ain't no good for none of them.
They know.
We gonna stop right there for a minute, and I'm gonna tell y'all why.
Okay.
Praise God.
Cause we went right into a marriage and parenting. We're gonna
Oh,
hold
okay,
that up.
okay.
So, because it's
Because
all
it
true.
overlaps, because those three things overlap.
Because they do.
They do.
But individuals have to know how to be single.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to, most women don't think they could be by themselves.
Yeah.
That is the reason why they get into anything. Right before we go in that, hon, want to hear from you and your perspective. Grandson, hold on, let Papa speak for a minute, then you can beat him up in a minute, okay?
Show me an uppercut and everything.
That's him and his Papa, that's all they do. So can I borrow him for a minute, and then you can finish beating up Papa, okay? Just for a moment. But I want to hear your perspective.
I'm not gonna, I mean, I had a lot to say, but I know checkout time is at
No,
exactly.
we just want you to talk. We got all of that.
So, cause I don't want my stuff getting.
I'm gonna go to the
But anyways, I was listening to her and Nikki, they use that terminology in regards to
Where's Nikki?
the, feministic way of a man. A lot of that stems from the fact of, most men, especially men of our culture, being raised by a single parent, not having that man in the house to mentor them or role model them. And just like my mom, I mean, I had 6 other siblings, and my oldest brother, who was her oldest child by my dad, he was her favorite. But as the years passed on, I became her favorite. And it was like everywhere I went, whatever I did, she was there as that support. And when she passed away in 2008, and they started doing her coffin, I said to myself, now I gotta grow up. Because I knew if I got into an argument with my wife or girlfriend or whoever, I could always run to my mom. And a lot of times, women confuse being a nurturer with a pacifist, or someone that's the terminology or the words you will use, an enabler. Most women allow themselves to be an enabler to a man even when he at his worst. So we feel like when we get into situations like that, even to sickness, I heard Nikki say when the man gets sick, he just pretty much out of being in this whiny baby, state. But that's because we know our nurturer, woman, girlfriend, wife, whoever, is gonna cater to us. We know this. And a lot of that is taken, a lot of times when women do that, they take our independency from us. They take from us being men and providers. We become comfortable. Even in my marriage, I'm 55 years old, and I'm coming really more to a point of learning me, and it took me a long time to realize who I really am. And I still haven't figured me out. Because at one point, everything could be just going well, and then it's like the bottom will fall, and everything will crash from up under me, and it's like, I don't want to deal with nobody. And if I have let's say, misunderstanding with my daughter-in-law, I take it out on my wife. Because I don't want to say anything to her, but she's the nearest and dearest and closest person to me. So I gotta spill it out some kind of way. So being a father, a provider, a man, one of the biggest mishaps that have hurt us, he had somebody to tell him, basically not to become codependent, to be a provider. I didn't have that. My dad was in and out of our lives, in and out. So when I grew up, people deny generational curses, but they're real. That I did that. I'll stay in a relationship, whether I stay with that woman or that woman stayed with me. But I always made sure for some odd reason, I always moved in with the woman. I would leave my place. I had rent-free places and would leave them to go and move in with a woman. But I used that as leverage so that when they did act up, I could just leave.
Oh, wow.
And I always knew I had, money and everything else to go and take care of myself. She talked about the playboy mentality and so forth. Most of us men do that because they honestly, women put up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Women deal with it. You know the man is cheating. You know the man doing something he shouldn't be doing. And with all of the, what do they call that? Womanly intuition, you already know he's doing something wrong that you continue to deal with. So we know you're going to deal with it. So we take advantage of it.
Oh, wow.
We take advantage of it.
Thanks for
So
that honesty.
in a nutshell, it's like a woman will expect a man to be a provider when he know that's his job, but at the same time, he wasn't taught how to. I wasn't taught how to be a provider. I saw my dad go to work 5 days a week. But at that tender age, all I knew was he was leaving. When I grew old enough to realize why he was leaving, I found out he was going to work. But at the same time, it was never discussed between me and him. Just like I had my first child when I was 17. If my dad would have said, and I told my wife this, if my dad would have said and told me, he said, son, don't be messing around with these girls, doing this to this girl, you're going to get her pregnant, and once you get a job, they're going to take your money in child support. I was a lover of money when I was a young man growing up. I ain't mind spending money on a woman, but trying to be a family man with kids and all that, if I'd have knew, get myself, how would I want to say, sexually involved with a woman, unprotected, would produce a child, I'd have never did.
Wow.
I'd have never did. I wouldn't. Because I didn't want to share my money. And if you get mad at me, because my dad tell you, now I've heard this conversation, son, always keep you some money. Woman get mad at you, she gonna put you out on the street. You and her living together, the place can be in your name, and I experienced this personally. The place could be in your name. She called the police, they gonna make you leave. I personally dealt with that. So as a result of it, I always kept money in my pocket to make sure if things went south, I had a place to go. And we put ourselves in a dependent state, dependent on ourselves when we get into a relationship, especially when we know that the woman is serious about the relationship, we become fearful. We'll say we want it, and then when it gets to that point, and we use our manipulation, our ways, man, I mean, I know there's a lot of manipulative, deceitful women in the world, but I think we masters of it, for real. We play and we prey on the emotions of women. We do, and as a result of it, it's like, okay, I got what I wanted, I'm gonna move on to the next one. And that's the card we play. But at the same time, when you're expecting something of a man that he's never been taught, it's impossible for him to act it out. Again, I've been married some 10 years now, and a lot of people say that's not really no time, but when you dealt with, when my wife had to deal with what she's had to deal with in this marriage regarding myself, them 10 years would feel like 100. Because I've always been a provider, and it was messed up because this is my third wife. My first two wives, I took care of them. They didn't have to do anything, but just exist. They chose to get jobs. I played the Anthony card. Save your money, do what you're gonna do, I'm gonna pay all the bills. And still had money left over to do me and them. But I let them do their own money. This one's more deserving of it, but I chose not to work. Where's the mentality? I was working for them and they didn't deserve it, and she deserves it, but then I would slack at my work. I would work when I felt like working. If she take me off, I was an Uber driver for 7 years. If she take me off about something, I wouldn't go to work. And then she wound up robbing Peter to pay Paul because of my inability to remain consistent. So again, to sum it up, we talk about the crybaby mentality of a man. If you find a whiny man like that, 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, they was raised by a woman. And a lot of men, fathers that's in the house, think punching the little boy in the chest and screaming and hollering at him is making him a man. No, it's not. A little boy has to see a man at work. See him in action. I don't mean literally be at his job. But when I say at work, that means providing and doing what he's supposed to do for his wife and his kids and providing for them and loving his wife. So how do you do something you've never been taught? How do you do something you never experienced, something you never saw? You can talk about the Bible, this, that, and the other. I was born and raised in church. Never smoked, never got high, never drank nothing in my life. I don't have no excuses. But the reality of it is, I could say, knowing that my dad and my mom was married, I just didn't see what the Bible says my dad was supposed to be doing for my mom. And my mom was short on some things as well. But me being male, I'm not going to be the one to point the finger at the female or the woman. I'm going to point the finger at the man. Because in the end, we're supposed to be providers. That's just, women are nurturers by nature. You talking about your husband, your man getting sick or whatever. He may go into this childlike state, which we will. But women by nature, that's just what they do. By nature, we're supposed to provide, and when we don't, we fail our families.
Amen.
That was some deep, y'all on some deep stuff, brothers.
That's why I'm glad y'all was
And
here.
it's something that
Oh,
is,
you're
but,
not finished.
for those who need to check out, we wanna make sure we get the stuff out of the rooms at this point in time and check out.
You wanted to say one last
And
thing?
then I wanna, that you get up, go ahead on, say what you're gonna say, but if you wanted to, and then I'm gonna, then you're gonna be getting ready to come up so you can present. No, she's not, I want her to close on her, as well. But the checkout 11 or 12?
It's 11. You can extend that hour.
Okay, could you go to the desk and extend us an hour and then get that stuff out of there?
What's that, 409?
409. 409 and 411, extended 411.
Oh, okay, so y'all
And
got
you
the
know
same
what?
room.
I'm glad that we have some brothers here because
And
it's
it's
always
influence.
good to hear the
Oh.
man.
Perspective.
Right, because we, you know,
Need to know.
because you run into a lot of women that think they know how men think, and I'm like, but you ain't,
I don't know nothing about
I'm
how
not
men
there.
think. You ain't no man. You don't know how they think or how they, you know. So I always love to hear.
Thank you, Felicia. Just thank you.
Cause I know some men, they'll say, we telling y'all what we want, or what we like, or what we don't like, but they like, but y'all ain't listening.
But they're not honest.
But a lot of men aren't.
They're not honest like that.
But now
But-
I'm just speaking on the ones
You-
who are.
You know
Yeah,
how
okay,
you
gotcha.
know how to get the honesty from the men. Listen to what they say. Continue to talk to them. They gonna tell you, but you got to pay attention to what they saying and how they move.
And you know
But you also
what?
got, yeah, the move, the
You
action
got
part.
to pay attention to what
But
they saying
a
and
lot
how they
of
move,
times, especially for
and
men,
talk to them.
all you gotta do is have a conversation.
They gonna tell it.
They gonna tell it.
See, we gonna remember.
But guess what? No, but for some of us, we wanna put it in a plan to fix it.
No, I don't want to fix that. I got enough stuff to fix on me. I'm trying to fix me.
But the reality of it is, most of us do. Most of us feel like, you know, he just, all he needs is this, and then some women like, I'm gonna shape him to what I want him to be. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that.
In
Oh, that's
another
evil.
age, in
That is
another-
That's evil right there.
Maybe because I'm,
Oh,
maybe because I'm
Nikki said
a army brat, or my rearing was a little different. But I don't know. I've always like, it's about me. For me, it's about me. Now,
but even though you say that, Deborah, you
Yeah.
are still,
even though
you have what you have, but you still the most giving, loving, sharing individual.
but it's about me, because that's what makes me comfortable. If
Right,
I'm
that's
not
what I'm saying.
comfortable, if I see somebody doing something that I think you out of order,
Well, that's a smart thing to do. That doesn't make that wrong.
yeah. But a lot of people, as from what I'm understanding, they don't.
They don't. They don't.
Self-preservation.
I learned the hard way.
You gotta pay
But
attention.
even though I saw it,
Yeah.
I learned. And when it come down, I learned now, no, it's gonna be about me and you. I'm gonna get my portion,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get your portion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be that one flesh, we're gonna make things happen. That goes into the mayor part. But when did Felice go?
She went to the desk to check the time in or whatever.
Okay.
And I told her, I said, check out to 8 till 12, so she said good, but I think she went to the bathroom. She's walking right behind.
Okay. I really wanted to, go ahead.
It's a good book.
And being single, and the whole dating pool, yeah, like me, I'm a silent person. I move fast, but I don't say nothing. I just go. To know me is basically to watch me, to be there. You know, I'm like, as much as I'm emotional like my mother, I silently move like my dad. He wasn't emotional at all. He was cut off. Well, at least he never showed it to us when he was around. So to know me is to watch me. If you want to be a part of what I'm doing, then you have to fit. With me, you have to fit in the crowd. That's still there. And the only way you're gonna find the crowd is if you're paying attention. If you're not paying attention, you're not gonna fit in. Because I'm not the one to tell you, I need you to do this because I'm the one that just goes to do it once I see it. You know, I don't even give my son and my daughter time to react to stuff half the time. You know, unless I'm just trying to teach them and I just don't touch it at all.
Now, how old are they?
My son is 21, my daughter's 11.
You got 11-year-old, you got baby mom here. He's sizing you up.
She better hook you up with something.
But you know what? Out of all the time of knowing you, you've always been the same. I've never seen you. You've always been the same. Always been the same in your mannerism. Always the same in your tone. Always the same. I don't know a time I really. Yes, sir.
I do want to address something too, especially with the women being in the room. I think one of the problems that really hurt men is the fact that we don't come together like you all.
So y'all
We
don't.
No, and even if we do those in-depth conversations, our masculinity will take over, and we don't want to discuss it to get help. We try and feel like that's the way we gonna deal with it. We'll suppress it, and that's the worst enemy. That's our worst. Sometimes we are worse at our own worst enemy.
We'll talk to keep from blowing up. And
We supposed to say what now?
we'll talk to keep from blowing up. Like we'll stay angry, but I'll talk like I thought Gerald to talk to him when I'm at a break where I might do something. And I'm only calling him because at that point I know he can calm that down.
Take you off that edge.
He'll take me off the edge.
Yeah.
It doesn't solve he doesn't solve the situation. He just takes me off the ledge.
Gotcha.
You know, and that's as far as the conversation will go. We really don't solve it. We just kind of bandage it,
Compartmentalize.
and eventually we'll either let it blow over or get it healed, or some other solution be found. But it's not necessarily between men that we solve the problem. No, we.
Well, then because then how does a wife, okay, how does a wife help her husband do that?
So we're gonna go into that when we go into the marriage part.
Okay.
Let's finish off with Felice, and then I wanna, bring you up, to speak. So in this, cause as you see, you opened up a whole lot of stuff. Which is a beautiful thing, because you've opened up a lot of things that gave people an opportunity to think about, discuss, to be able to see. So it really manifested some things that that is very, 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 very helpful. So I want you to bring it home with the singleness in regards to your perspective and what you've learned, and especially when you said mom was a good teacher in that particular area, that brought out some things in Felice that because she grew up in, but then she come to realize like, this ain't good.
Okay. Real quick, what he was stating was that he compartmentalized like different emotions. So I know that men aren't the only ones who do that. We do it good as well. We're really good to look at that. And what I will say is what I wanted to touch on a little bit earlier. Me being single this time around, I was actually able to like learn myself in deeper ways than I've ever learned before. Sincerely, I've been single before, and you know, you kind of like try to do anything to subdue it. You know, you want to get rid of the loneliness, the temporary like. Oh, woe is me type feeling. And this time it's like, no, you really have to get to know yourself again. Like what makes, like you mentioned earlier, what makes you happy? And it could be something as simple as a hobby. I have like 10,000 hobbies now, honest to goodness. And it's just because if it makes me happy in that moment, why not? Like you said, what makes you happy? And when we love ourselves, when I love myself more, I feel like I'm still on a good path. I'm almost there to the point where like, okay, I want to pour into somebody else. I have so much love for myself. I have no choice but to allow others to love me and to put that on someone else or give that to someone else as well. With my 3-part being, it's just once I stay focused in that. So I do my manifestations, I do my prayer, then I do my little miniature workouts, and I watch what I eat. And it's like a beautiful circle. Like everything is all in sync to a certain degree. Now my only fear, and I guess I can call it fear, is that I want to make sure that when I am in a relationship, I don't lose any aspect of that. So just making sure I reinforce that, like, this is what I do. This is my morning routine. This is what I need. I need 10 minutes to myself. You okay with that? Like, if not, I don't know what to tell you. This is what I like. And nowadays, it's my boundaries is what I like to call that. Because with my mother, like I said, I was a really good student with her teaching me the toxic ways of what my grandfather, who was abusive and alcoholic and suicidal, the things that she saw, she passed it on to me, and I'm doing everything I can to break my generational curse. So if and when I do have children, I'm not bringing that on to them. They're not gonna know that. I don't want them to even, if they get curious, that's on them. But I'm not gonna open up, subject them to that. Absolutely not. No. So with that, learning myself and understanding that being single is not a weapon. No matter how many times people tell you, girl, you need to do this, focus on yourself first. I literally cannot stress that enough. Whatever makes you happy, if it means rocking green hair with a mohawk, do it. Be free. Fly free. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So, all that being said, that's all I have to say.
Amen.
Yes. And so what we should have gotten, well, I say should have, awesome. I remember when Felice and I was talking and I asked her about doing this and she was like, sure, Mom, but then she had this, and then she had this transition in her life, and then she was like, I'm really ready for this. Like, I need to share this, and there's still so much more that I know she can share, but to be able to see her where she is, I can tell you guys, she is a completely different person. Really, she is. Her conversations, her tone, everything about her is so different, and she's exercising that. And the key point in this is it's okay if you are single. Because a lot of times people are telling individuals, oh my God, I'm in my 30s, I'm in my 40s, and I ain't got married yet, I ain't having children yet. And so it causes them to just feel like, and that's how women end up just jumping into something. You know what I'm saying? And accepting
the holidays
it.
are coming up, and all my female friends who are single and we're in our early or late 30s, they're like, girl, I'm gonna just go get me, they on Tinder, this, that, and the other. I just got off of that because it's like, no, it's not meeting my needs. It's like, I know the beginning stages are okay, it's great and all, but sometimes it could just be just a temporary fix, and it's not gonna really feed me. And they're just doing it to probably subdue their loneliness as well.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
About being, the holidays is coming up, so everyone wants to jump into a relationship right now just so they can, it's cuddle season. Cuffing season, sorry, cuffing season. So everyone's really hard on that right now, and it's like, no, thank you. I prefer. Just recently got off all those dating sites because those are temporary fixes. I need to continue to work on myself. So next year, feel sorry for the man. That's gonna be my husband next year.
So you said the sites, the single site. Okay.
Ms. Felice, you mentioned earlier in regards to obtaining your own truck and going to business for yourself. So that's basically a career move, correct?
Well, yes,
Okay.
it is subject to change because, like, I claim my husband, so if he already has a truck or something like that and he wants me to stay at home, absolutely, baby.
Okay.
Like, we're gonna make that work.
Excellent. Why would a man want to marry Felice?
Because Felice is actually very, very loyal, like to a degree where if you are for the right, and I mean a person who has good character, and he's an upstanding man, and he's just having a rough go of it, because, hey, this society wasn't built for the black man, and I will be marrying a black man. I'm gonna be loyal be there for him, any stepping stone, like we said, I'm going to be his helpmate. So if he does need to see something from a different angle, I will be able to be there to say, hey, like taking a page out of Mama Locket's book. Babe, did you see this? And not take over like I used to,
How old are you?
recognizing 36.
I'm thinking about my son.
Especially that one you had. That one son. Look, she just got through talking about this like cuddle season. And next thing you know, everybody gonna be married. Okay? They're gonna be the matchmaking for real, because it's like, wow, But it makes sense. But so we want to do this, and we want to get ready to bring our presenter up. It is okay.
It is
Being
okay.
single.
Yes. And when you are single, be just that. Don't play house. Don't play wife. Don't play nothing. And if somebody's going to share your space, make sure he's sharing that space and you share names too.
And
That's
remember
just
to
the way
say
it go.
amazing.
Work on yourself in the
In
middle.
the mid, exactly, that's very key. In that point in time, make sure you working on you. Because when it is time to come together, you don't want to be bringing all your baggage into something that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing. That's why it's called past. Your past is just what it is, your past. I don't need to be discussing with you my past, because I left it back there.
Yeah.
So why are you doing it? Because I'm gonna tell you something. Most men prey on that. And I don't mean P-R-A-Y either. I mean P-R-E-Y. They prey on it. And then they'll start seeing the very things you was challenged with, if they can do it and get away with it. Because I'm just,
Like I mentioned earlier, people will see a kink, try to find a kink in your armor and try to.
and they will dismantle you. So we want to be careful with that. So thank you all again. Thanks, Denise. That was awesome. Awesome.
Real quick, I do wanna add, like you said, in regards to, the man, the woman, putting herself in position to take on the man's name. In the book of Genesis 5:12, when y'all named them, or when the father named them, he named them Adam, which means they shared the same name. Adam named her.
That's true.
Remember,
That's right.
you being married, your name is supposed to change to his.
Yeah.
And if he's not changing your name, no go.
That's it. That's it. That's all.
You got some folks now can tell me, I'm not gonna take his name. Well, why you marrying him?
Woo, we're gonna get off into that one in a minute, because that's
When they change his name, but they gotta keep theirs in it.
Yeah.
No, they what they do
Well, that help. I mean, it makes it easier to transition like mail and stuff when you hyphenate. I ain't do that. I'm just saying it's easier.
But you know what?
But you know what?
I asked somebody why they do that, and they said that they keep all of their
Assets?
yeah, so we won't jeopardize him. You know, like when you come as one and you have something, and like she said, she got an ID with her marriage name, and she has an ID with that, but she used her maiden name on certain things, and that I don't even know how that even occurs to happen.
well, we
Well,
gonna
that protects him. Like if he has debt and she doesn't, then she takes on his debt, his children, his everything.
Right,
And that will protect her
Yeah,
if
that's
he
what
wants
she said.
it.
Yeah. And so they're like, the child support and all that. If it didn't, your child support coming, they'll take it from you.
Take from her.
They'll take it from
But
her.
that-
But you know what?
That's why you investigate all that beforehand.
That's right, and you don't wanna
You
don't
know
get
that
into
man,
it.
you're gonna bear his responsibility no matter what.
Right.
That's just
But-
like a man, let's say a man don't have something.
What if we say that, I want them to be just taking money from you, babe? So, what if you
Well,
feel
now,
that
if he
way?
suggests that, that's different. But what I'm saying is, what if he got custody of his kids? Because I was a father who had custody of my kids at one point.
So few far in
If the
between.
woman don't wanna deal with my kids, then quite naturally, just like a woman, she's not gonna deal with a man who don't wanna deal with her kids.
Well, I tell you something, we can talk about those in them other segments. That was so
And
good.
I
But I do wanna.
I had a whole little thing. I'm just.
You come on and be used, honey, and speak.
Can I sit?
You sure can. Okay. I'm gonna leave this right here for you, darling. Thank you. Go right on. And so, we're getting ready to bring to you guys, just by her conversations, just by listening to her